Welcome back, everyone. Beth Tyson with us today. She's a naturalist with Johnny Appleseed Metro Park District. Always getting us excited about getting outside. And also, I think the weather and you are kind of a combination getting us excited for spring. We've had some teases of it, some 50 degrees and plus. But you were saying you could get the kids outside and look for some signs of spring, right?
Absolutely. It's so important, even in cold weather, to let kids get outside. It's important for their physical and emotional development. But, you know, like you said, we've been teased a little bit with some spring weather coming. But if you start outside looking for signs of spring, you'll find them. You've got to look close, but we're starting to see them, which is so exciting. And it's fabulous to get kids outside, whether it's in your backyard or taking a walk through the neighborhood or even getting into one of our parks to see if you can find some signs of spring.
So if we get our kid detectives out there looking, what are some of the things they should look for?
Well, there are, of course, we're getting into the time where the spring wildflowers are starting to bloom out in our parks. So those are always really exciting to see. And, you know, when you're outside with kids, it's always great to use all of your five senses if you can. So not just looking for signs of spring, but listening for signs of spring. And I've started on some of these warmer mornings to actually hear some of the birds singing, which is always a fabulous sign that spring is on its way. So you can look and listen for birds. You can look for those wildflowers that are starting to bloom. You might even see some little tiny violets that are in your grass at your home. You can look for buds on the trees and touch them with the kids. That's always a good thing, and that's a great big sign of spring, that they're starting to swell up with the development of the leaves inside the buds, and that's a nice sign that spring is on its way as well. Yeah. And even with some older kids, you can start graphing the temperatures, the daily temperatures. And of course, at this time of the year, you see ups and downs with all of our temperatures, but you should be seeing a slight increase as the weeks go on. It's fun to see that in a graph form, or even starting to record the sunsets and the sunrise, because we're seeing the days starting to get longer as well. So even though it feels cold and it feels like winter's just never going to give up its grip, there are signs of spring that are out there.
You know, it's funny you talked about the birds, because I know some, we always think of the robin as, oh, I saw a robin, spring must be here. I know some will hang around all year, but what you said about hearing them more and more activity, I think that's really true. Do birds and animals almost kind of have a spring fever?
Absolutely. We're seeing some of the migrant birds starting to come in, the warblers, and just the birds that have migrated away for the winter time. In March, we'll start to see those birds returning back to this area. The woodpeckers are starting to drum on the trees to set up their territories, and some of the animals are starting to come out of their dens from spending a lot of time sleeping during the winter time. I know this is a great time. Another sign of spring is starting to sometimes smell the skunks that are coming out of their dens looking for food and for mates. But unfortunately, sometimes they come in contact with cars yeah. and they don't do too well. And that's when you start smelling that skunk smell. So once again, using five senses, that sense of smell, which is a sign of spring as well.
You can tell that we are optimists when we smell a skunk this time of year and we're like, spring is here, yay!
Yay, it's here!
Well, Beth, all very good advice. Get the kids out there and look for and hear and smell for signs of spring. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, Jeff. Have a great day.
Same to you. Nice chatting with you, and we'll be back right after this.